Good evening. My name is Katie Esfeld, and today I'm going to be talking about pollution in our environment. More specifically, I'm going to be talking about plastic pollution and how this affects our world and affects all the animals that live within our world. Currently, in the United States, only 91% of all plastic is not recycled. 40% of the plastic that is not recycled is single-use plastic only. We use it one time and then we discard it into our planet to pollute our planet with these plastics. On average, a family uses 220 pounds of plastic every single year. These are all statistics found from the National Geographic, posted by Laura Parker. First, I'm going to talk about in my speech, why would we care about plastic pollution? Next, I'm going to cover how can we reduce plastic pollution in our world. Plastic pollution currently ends up in our oceans or on land, but most specifically in our oceans, it causes great damage to all the animals within the ocean. Microplastics can be found in 100% of marine turtles today in our ocean. Marine microplastics can also be found in 59% of all whales that were studied, 36% of all seals that were studied, and 40% of all seabirds that were studied. 100,000 marine mammals and turtles and 1 million birds are killed by marine plastic pollution every single year. All these statistics were found by the Marine Pollution and Human Health Study by the Royal Society of Chemistry. These are some of the plastics that we find in some of our everyday foodstuffs that we use. This was collected from my family in one day of eating. This isn't even all of the plastics that we used possibly in one day. Some of these plastics we cannot avoid. They're in the foods that we buy. They're with the foods that we buy every single day. But we can make a difference by trying to reduce the single-use plastic that we use every day. This is some of the single-use plastics that I collected from our family. And we're going to try, today I'm going to explain how we can try to reduce some of these single-use plastics in order to reduce the plastic that is found in our oceans and our landfills. Currently, there has been found by the National Geographic that it takes 10 to 20 years for Ziploc bags, plastic wrap, and grocery bags to decompose in our oceans and in our environment. It takes 1,000 years for silverware to decompose in the environment and in the oceans or in our landfills because it is made out of what is called polyester. Straws, single-use straws, take 200 years to decompose in our landfills and in our oceans. Tupperware and water bottles, these take 450 up to 1,000 years to decompose in our landfill and our oceans. This means from this single-use, a lot of these plastics will survive way beyond the time that I am alive. It is sad to think that when I am long gone and even my body is decomposed in the ground, my plastics will be left behind for future generations to have to tolerate. This is a travesty. There are some solutions that we can use in order to try to reduce the amount of plastics that we put into our environment. We cannot possibly get rid of all of them, but in order to reduce the amount of plastic that I put into the environment, we can use a variety of products. One such product is mesh bags. These are mesh bags that you can buy online. And these bags are reusable. I can use them for years and years instead of using single-use plastic bags that we find in our grocery stores that we use for our vegetables and our fruits every day. It is a little bit more money, but just think of how many plastic bags that we put out into the environment that will be there for years and years for animals to digest, and it's just a travesty. Next, we can use, this can also be purchased online. These are plastic bags that are also reusable, that for food storage bags in the replace of Ziploc bags or sandwich bags. These can be purchased online and can also be used year after year instead of the one-time use and then discarded to sit around in landfills and in our oceans. Next, instead of using saran wrap or plastic wrap, this is another option that can also be purchased online. This is reusable plastic coverings for the top of our plates and our silverware, or top of our plates and our bowls for saving food inside the fridge. These can last for years and years instead of using the single-time saran wrap and then just discarding it into our garbage cans. Another option, instead of single-use straws, is to use either paper straws that some businesses use, and we'll get into that, or use metal straws that you can also purchase online that you can use for my entire lifetime and use them again and again instead of using single-use straws and discarding them, needlessly into our oceans and into our landfills. These paper straws you can find at certain businesses, one including Subway, others including, some local businesses use paper straws now, 100% biodegradable straws, instead of the plastic one-time use straws that, may I remind you, can take up to 200 years to decompose in our environment. This is such a better alternative. Some small businesses these days also use 100% biodegradable plastic-like silverware instead of the single-use plastic silverware, which, may I remind you, takes 1,000 years to decompose in our oceans or in our landfills. Instead, these are 100% biodegradable, and I suggest using businesses, asking your local businesses when you order food for takeout if they use 100% biodegradable silverware, because this is an option. And as you can tell, they are very durable. They don't break when you use them. There is no reason why small businesses can't use 100% biodegradable, single-use forks and knives and spoons. And so ask your local businesses, encourage people to use these biodegradable things, because may I remind you, 1,000 years that the plastic silverware will remain on our planet long after we're gone. Another good resource, this is Tupperware. This Tupperware will take anywhere from 450 to 1,000 years to biodegrade in our landfills and in our oceans. And as you can see, the plastic Tupperware, if you can see that it gets worn over time, and lots of people, that looks pretty gross and nasty, and so we throw it away after using it. We've only used this for 1 year, and it is all tarnished, and normally we throw it away. A good alternative is using glass. It costs a little more, but this will literally last a lifetime. As you can see, this has also been used for a year. There is no tarnish, there is nothing. The lid, unfortunately, is plastic, but this is so much less plastic in our environment than the Tupperware that I originally showed you. Also, another thing that will greatly save on plastic is, instead of using one-time use plastic bags, to buy a reusable bag. This is only $1, and we can reuse this time and time again for years for our groceries. The small hassle will pay off in pounds and pounds of plastics that will be found in our oceans and found in our landfills. Instead, we could just use $1 little bag that we can use for our groceries, that instead will save our planet and save our marine life from dying. We can make a difference. There's a lot of pollution out there in this planet that we might not be able to, as individuals, be able to make a difference. But we can make a difference with plastic pollution. Just myself alone, I can make small differences by making small purchases in life to make huge differences on our oceans and in our landfills and for our animals on this planet. We can make a difference with plastic pollution. Again, I covered why should we care? What can we do? And how do we do it? Thank you.